Hello, I've been working on a Scratch game called Shooter with Cards. I wanted to rank the cards, so here's a tier list of all the cards. Also, Reloaded is the version I'm ranking these cards, and I'm comparing them to V2.4, which was the latest shooter I made. Alright, we will start with D tier. D tier is any card that is fundamentally useless. Starting off with Faster Reload, this card does exactly what it says in the most useless way possible. You have to stack this card for it to do anything. I have nothing else to say about this one. Next up is Bigger Bullets, and I like this one for how funny it is when you stack it, but since there's no inaccuracy for bullets and Reloaded, it just isn't as useful as it's meant for an accuracy buff. And we are already moving on to C tier. These are cards that have niche uses and are mostly used for gameplay changes. Starting us off with Shield. Shield gives you a little shield that blocks enemies, and if you're a Hollow Knight player, this is the equivalent of Dream Shield, which we all know is a terrible charm. I will say, though, it does make for fun gameplay. Next up is Multi-Shot, which may seem surprising, but every nerd knows you only really need one bullet and you're good. Multi-Shot also just decreases your reload speed, which is fine, but I would prefer to keep it. Agility is the next card on our list, and it has potential. It could be really useful if a super agile enemy existed, but this is not V2.4. This is Reloaded V1.0, so they don't really exist. However, you do go Zoom. Now, we are moving on to B tier. These are cards that are nice to have, but don't do too much. Starting us off with Portal, which seems powerful as it teleports you across the map. However, its cooldown impairs it. I would prefer Dash as a getaway card, but this works as well. Next up is Damage, and this card mostly just ruins the fun for me. I prefer enemies being tanky since game progression, but Damage just makes the enemies way too easy and makes the easy boss easier. It might be useful in the Divine Goddess fight, but I haven't even made that fight yet, so it's not shining. Chain is also a B tier card. This card is actually quite powerful in the second half of the game since enemies spawn more frequently, but in the first half it doesn't do much, and directly killing enemies is way faster than trying to chain it. Fire is a very unique card that uses your health as a way of dealing damage. Wait a minute. This is just Thorns of Agony, and you can't heal unless you have Regen or Lifesteal, which makes this card to use useless until you get a Regen type card, which good luck getting one of those. You may be suspicious as why I put Health Boost in B tier since it literally increases your max health, but just like Fire, you can't even use the card until you have Regen. It is helpful in using damage-based cards, but Fire is the only one, so not the most helpful. We are now moving on to A tier. These are cards I would pick over most cards and can be quite useful. For those of you who know what Shooter with Cards V2.4, you may be surprised to hear that Bouncy is A tier. I love Bouncy for changing up the gameplay and giving me those no-scope moments, and it's a great card to have. I only put it in A tier because it's not as useful as V2.4's Bouncy, which is way too overpowered. Another surprising choice for me is putting Regen in A tier. Look, you can't play V2.4 without Regen as your first card, but at Reloaded you can. In fact, there are multiple trophies about it. Regen is also nerfed because it only heals you half a heart, but it's still pretty powerful and deserves a powerful slot. Last for A tier is Lifesteal. Lifesteal is a great card to have for bosses in particular, as bosses spawn in enemies that let you heal. It is very unreliable because it's chance-based, but it still comes in handy when you need to heal. And finally, S tier. The two cards that are the best of the best. Dodge is up first. This card, unlike its V2.4 version, can be used in multiple times, and it's a great method of escaping attack. It can't deal damage, but it doesn't need to. It's just perfect for methodically escaping enemies and preventing being cornered. Last and certainly not least, is Overgrow. This is the most lethal card in the game, also almost one-shotting the pumpkin enemy, the most tough enemy in the game so far. Also, the one-shot comes from the fact that it multi-hits, which just makes it even better. I do have one complaint. There isn't a vertical version of Overgrow, but I don't think it needs one, but it could be cool to see a vertical version. And that sums up my list, so thanks for watching. And please, if you will, please like and subscribe.